So here we are, south of Deep Fin Point, killing great white sharks. And I just kind of wanted to talk about this bounty tasks, why you want to kill these, and I also want to talk about cannon combat, ship combat, damage numbers, how it's calculated from a ship, because I've learned a lot actually since my last video. So we'll start off, great white sharks. Why do you want to kill them? Well, you want to kill them because they can drop this, the Broken Dragon Hook, which is 1 in 1,000. And it is worth 63 million gold at the moment. So that's why you want to kill these, is you want to get the Broken Dragon Hook. Now, I am killing these, again, on these two bounty tasks, Port Khazard, Corsair Cove. Now, they're not always going to be there. It's going to rotate, or it's random, I'm not entirely sure. If you're looking for the tasks and you can't find them, this is what you do. You go to the wiki, and you look up great white sharks, and here are all the different ports that you can potentially get these tasks from. So you would hop around until you find a task for the jaw, and then you'd hop around until you find a task for the liver. And once you got both of those, then you would come back here and start killing great whites. So my current setup, I'm just in a skiff. I'm not even using a sloop, because I want to explain some of the mechanics, some of the damage calculation. So I am using a rune cannon. Now, I didn't know this, but all cannons actually have their own innate like range strength bonus, similar to a weapon. So what that means is if I'm shooting steel cannonballs out of a rune cannon, it actually has a higher max hit than if I shoot steel cannonballs out of a steel cannon, which I didn't know for a while. Another thing I learned is that ranging potions, boosting your range level, actually boosts the max hit of your cannon, which I had no idea. So if I'm boosted to 112, my max hit, I think, increases by 3. I believe my max hit with this rune cannon, shooting rune cannonballs, is 34 or 35 now. So you want to drink ranging potions. Very important. Sip ranging potions, especially if you're firing the cannon yourself. Drink ranging potions. If you have a crew member on the cannon, you don't need to drink ranging potions. It doesn't scale off of that. It's just a flat damage number depending on the cannon and the cannonballs. But it will be lower. It will be about, it's actually higher than I thought. It's about 70% or 65% of your max hit. Because I did some testing and I was using granite cannonballs. My max hit was 25. Olga on the cannon using granite cannonballs, her max hit was 17. So take those numbers as you may. But personally, I like manning the cannon myself because it's more damage, more efficient use of the cannonballs. Plus you get more sailing XP from it. So the other thing that I didn't talk about in my last video, and I didn't even know about, was the Keg of Peril Dance Bitter. Now, if you plan on doing any ship combat, get this immediately. It is very easy to get. All you have to do is you have to chart 8 seas in the Western Ocean and 5 seas in the Shrouded Ocean, which might sound like a lot, but charting a sea sometimes can take like a couple minutes, because you just have to chart like 3 to 6 points of interest. And if you're unsure, you can look up a map of where they are on the wiki. But essentially what you want to do is you just want to open your journal. You would want to go to like nearest sea. And you would want to, like here I'm in the Shrouded Ocean. You'd be like, oh, the Everdeep, let's do these tasks. You can see I've already done it because I already got my keg. But it's actually very simple. It does not take long at all. It looks daunting to chart 13 seas. But like I said, I think it took me 2 hours maybe to chart all that. And then you can go fill your keg with Peril Dance Bitter. And that increases the max hit of all your cannons for you or your crew members by 1. So it's actually a big deal. You should definitely do it if you plan on doing range combat. So yeah, that in addition to the ranging potions will increase your damage when you're manning the cannon a lot. Currently I'm using rune cannonballs, which these are quite expensive, but honestly I think it's worth it. Compare these to granite cannonballs, which if you don't know what granite cannonballs are the way, I didn't know until recently either. You make these by using steel cannonballs with granite dust, which drops from the Grotesque Guardians, and it makes granite cannonballs, which are untradeable, but they are stronger than mithril and weaker than adamant. So if I'm range potted and have my Keg of Peril Dance Bitter, I can hit for 25 with these granite cannonballs, and I believe I hit for 34 with these rune cannonballs. But I'm using the rune cannonballs because great white sharks are pretty tough. They're kind of scary, so I figure I might as well try out the rune cannonballs here. But that's the main point, is get both, make sure you have both unique tasks. And make sure you have a Keg of Peril Dance Bitter and you're using a ranging potion. Man the cannon yourself and shoot the sharks. And that's about it. Obviously, you can use a sloop. You can be shooting both cannons simultaneously with like the wiggle method, or do a fancy spot where it's lined up directly in front of the boat. Or you can be fighting 2 mobs simultaneously. You know, if you like unassign the crew member, tell them to stop attacking, and then like you can do weird stuff like that. Personally, I just like to sit on the cannon myself and just shoot the enemies with the cannon. I like to keep it very simple. I usually kill. Right now, I'm just sitting in the corner, just getting 1 shark at a time because they are aggressive. If I'm killing them fast enough, I could move to a spot where 2 will aggro onto me, and I'm going between 1 and the other, but I'm just feeling it out. I haven't really tried these out very much. But yeah, this is about it. Again, kill these. Hope for the Dragon Claw. It sells for like 60, 70 mil, whatever it was. Obviously, if you're an Iron Man, you're going for it. You're going to have to kill these eventually anyway. But yeah, this is my method. Again, big takeaways. Get the Keg of Peril Dance Bitter immediately. +1 max hit is a huge deal, especially if you use crew members, because they also benefit from the max hit. And then, yeah, ranging potions, which I had no idea boosted max hit damage. But that's about it. Once you finish these tasks, you would go turn them in, and then you would just teleport back. Personally, I would just teleport to Deepfin using my Sailor's Amulet. And then I would just sail right down here and start killing Gray Whites again. So pretty simple. I did actually learn something else. This is kind of bonus footnotes. The video is basically over, but I just wanted to talk about something else I learned. There's actually a hidden combat mechanic with sailing. If you don't know how sailing damage works, let's say I wasn't manning the cannon myself. Let's say I was shooting them with ranged. If you're using default combat styles at sea, your damage is reduced by 75% and rounded down. But there is a chance to bypass that damage reduction. At level like 1 sailing, the chance to bypass that is like 1 in 90. But at level 99 sailing, the chance to bypass that 75% damage reduction is like 1 in 10. So I'll have to do some experimenting as I get higher sailing level. It might actually be worth it to, you know, maybe use my BOFA while putting a crew member on the cannon. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I thought that was interesting because it never explains how those mechanics work. And I really had no idea because I was using a BOFA at some points while I had a crew member on the cannon. And I noticed sometimes I would hit way harder and I couldn't really explain it or understand why. But that's why. Because, again, the 75% damage reduction and the chance to bypass it that scales with your sailing level. And again, I'm just referring to when you're like using ranged or magic style. So that is interesting. I had no idea. Figured I would throw that in as a footnote in case you didn't know. But yeah, I'll end the video there. Thanks for watching. Peace.